There is a kind of success that does not look sick at first. It looks driven, it looks productive, it looks disciplined, it looks ambitious, it looks like someone who can carry pressure better than everyone else. But when you study Pitta in the 10th house carefully, you realize something sobering. Sometimes what looks like strength is actually a system running too hot. And that is exactly what this 10th house Pitta pattern reveals. Because the 10th house is not only career, reputation, work, public role, authority, and karma in action. In the body, it relates to the knees, lower thighs, upper calves, skeletal system, bones, skin. And here, very importantly, the parathyroid and associated mineral regulation functions. So now we are not just looking at outer ambition. We are looking at structural metabolism under pressure. That is a profound shift. The slide tells you clearly, Pitta is hot, sharp, inflammatory, penetrating. In the 10th house, it primarily inflames joints and skeletal tissues. But this version takes the teaching deeper. It points toward hormonal and mineral expression, increased metabolic drive, bone resorption patterns in extreme cases, irritability cycles, overtraining syndrome, hormonal stress states, and reduced sleep duration. That is not a small detail. That is the whole pattern becoming more intelligent. Because now you are seeing that 10th house Pitta is not merely pain in the knees. It is a life pattern where duty, output, drive, and intensity begin to alter the body's regulatory tempo. The body is no longer just inflamed, it is overdriven. And when the slide shows Mars and the Sun, the symbolism becomes exact. Mars gives force, speed, performance, competition, heat, and the urge to push harder. The Sun gives authority, visibility, self-command, intensity, identity, and the pressure to remain effective and respected. Now imagine those energies expressing through the 10th house. The person does not merely work, they run hot while working. They do not merely strive. They metabolize life like a battlefield. They do not merely perform. They over-recruit energy, attention, willpower, and nervous output in order to maintain movement and control. This is why the phrase on the slide is so powerful. System runs hot and overdriven. That is the essence. And if you are a healer, that phrase should immediately make you think beyond surface symptoms. Because a system running hot and overdriven can show up as constant urgency, difficulty slowing down, irritability that seems to come in cycles, reduced sleep because the inner engine never fully powers down, overtraining, burnout hidden inside productivity, and eventually a structure that begins to lose resilience because it is being asked to support too much heat for too long. This is where the 10th house becomes a brilliant diagnostic lens. The 10th house is the house of load-bearing karma. It tells you how a person carries responsibility in the visible world. So, when Pitta aggravates this house, the body can begin to reflect a very specific psychological reality. I must keep going. I must stay ahead. I must remain effective. I must not lose ground. I must control the outcome. I cannot afford to soften. And that internal command slowly becomes physiological. That is why increased metabolic drive appears here. That is why reduced sleep appears here. That is why irritability appears here. That is why overtraining appears here. The person is not just living with ambition. They are living with combustion. And the danger of combustion is that it often gets rewarded before it gets punished. People praise the overdriven person. They admire the work ethic. They call it dedication. They call it excellence. They call it leadership. But the chart and the body may be saying something else. This person is converting pressure into heat, heat into overperformance, and overperformance into internal depletion hidden behind intensity. That is why this slide's overall pattern is so sharp. Inflamed knees, burning joint pain, overambition, metabolic intensity. Support becomes overheated. That last line is worth meditating on. Support becomes overheated. Think about that deeply. The knees support, bone support, hormonal balance supports, sleep supports, mineral stability supports, emotional regulation supports, inner pacing supports. So what happens when support itself becomes too hot? The person may still look functional, but the foundation is no longer calm. Their support system is now in strain. Their success is sitting on top of internal overactivation. This is why 10th house Pitta has to be read as both bodily and karmic. At the bodily level, it may show as inflammatory pressure in the knees and joints, heat in the system, overuse patterns, poor recovery, irritability, and poor sleep. At the psychological level, it may show as extreme achievement drive, impatience, intolerance for inefficiency, perfectionistic pressure, and a constant need to do more. At the karmic level, it shows a person whose relationship with duty has become fiery and excessive. Now let us distinguish healthy Pitta from aggravated Pitta. Healthy Pitta in the 10th gives leadership, clear execution, disciplined work, courage under responsibility, clean ambition, and the capacity to build something meaningful in the world. Aggravated Pitta in the 10th gives pressure without cooling, work without recovery, authority without softness, intensity without rhythm, and ambition that gradually overheats the structure meant to carry it. That difference is everything. So if you are reading a chart, do not stop at saying this person is ambitious or career driven. Ask the better question. How is this person paying for their ambition? Are they sacrificing sleep? Are they living in chronic irritation? Are they using stress as fuel? Are they training or working beyond recovery? Are they turning every responsibility into an emergency? Are they living as though slowing down would threaten identity itself? That is how you read 10th house Pitta with rigor. And if you are listening to this personally, this teaching becomes even more valuable. Because many people do not realize they are overheated until the body interrupts them, until sleep shortens, until the joints protest, until rest feels unnatural, until irritability becomes normal, until achievement no longer feels clean, only compulsive. That is when the body starts teaching what the ego refused to learn gently. So the medicine here is not to destroy fire. It is to civilize fire, not less purpose. Better pacing, not less responsibility. Less combustion in how responsibility is carried, not less excellence. Less self-burning in the pursuit of excellence. That is the mature expression of this pattern. The real mastery of 10th house Pitta is learning how to act powerfully without turning your own support system into a furnace. If this style of deep Jyotish Ayurveda teaching speaks to you, stay with this series because I am breaking these combinations down in a way that helps you read body, mind, karma, and behavior together. And if you are a healer or serious astrology student, subscribe and follow because this is where chart interpretation becomes more precise, more embodied, and far more useful. And leave with this question. Where in your life is your support system running too hot just to maintain your current momentum? Because once you can answer that honestly, you are no longer just studying the 10th house. You are beginning to understand the true cost of carrying fire in the world.